Why is self-awareness important? Do we really need to develop it? Is it worth the time and energy? Does it really affect our success and personal growth? I'm going to explain to you why self-awareness is not only important, it's absolutely essential to your well-being. Some people might see self-awareness as a nice to have, that we have better things to do than spend our days staring at our navels, that what we actually need to do is get out into the world, live our lives and make things happen. Or maybe some people feel like it's just easier to go through life blissfully unaware, seeing it as safer or more in control because I know how things are and I don't have to look at them too closely. But without self-awareness, nothing else works. We don't grow, we don't learn, we don't improve, we don't achieve the successes we desire. We don't end up where we want to end up, and one day we wake up in completely the wrong place, utterly miserable, totally dissatisfied with our lives, wondering how the heck we even got here. I'm Nicola and I've been developing my self-awareness for over 30 years. And that self-knowledge has been central in allowing me to break free from my past and from my patterns of pain. So I'm going to share with you 11 compelling reasons why you simply have to improve your self-awareness starting today so that you can get out of your own way, achieve the life you desire. Plus, I'm going to share with you some of the key insights that research shows us about people who are more self-aware. So what is self-awareness? At its essence, self-awareness is our ability to see ourselves clearly, see who we are. And it can start by asking questions like, who am I? What do I want? What do I value? What's important to me? Where do I fit into the world? What do I believe? And it can allow us to objectively observe our thoughts, our emotions, our feelings. And it's about observing them without judgment. It's just information about who we are and how we function in the world. And the key reasons why self-awareness is so important fall into two main categories. One is the inner reasons or insight, and the other is outer or outer sight. The first reason why self-awareness is so important is that we can only change the world outside of us by changing the world inside of us. We have to change who we are if we want to change what happens in the world outside. And that happens through self-reflection and awareness, because by doing that, we can choose to do more of what works and less of what doesn't. For example, let's say you find yourself yelling at a customer service rep. You've had a really frazzling day and you get on the phone and it degenerates into a yelling match. After that, you can use reflection to look at what happened. Why did that unfold? And then how do I choose to handle that kind of situation differently in the future? To put this into action, one of the best ways to do self-reflection is journaling. And I've got a guide with over 100 different journaling prompts that you can download to help you as you develop your practice of self-reflection. The second reason that self-awareness is so important to our success is that it helps us understand what we do and don't want, need or expect from ourselves and from the world around us. It gives us clarity, and that clarity allows us to make better decisions, to make choices that match us better. And by making those better choices, we get more happiness. We are more fulfilled. We are shaping the circumstances around us to suit us based on that clarity, and it moves us forward to a better future where we're finding solutions to our current challenges. For example, let's say you're considering moving to a new job. You can use that clarity, that understanding of what you want, need and expect to look at that job and say, is it actually going to measure up? Is it going to give me what I need and want? Is this job right for me? Is it a good fit? And by using that clarity to evaluate that job, you make a better quality decision that leads to better outcomes. To put this into action, focus on looking forward. Look ahead and say, what do I want? What do I expect? What do I need? What do I want out of life? The idea is to get clear on what the future looks like for you, to focus on solving problems and figuring out the best way to resolve the situation you're currently in. The third reason that self-awareness is so vital to our well-being and success is that it allows us to tune in and listen to the messages from our body and our mind. And that ability to hear what's going on for us allows us to develop emotional intelligence. And that emotional intelligence then leads us to be able to self-regulate so that we can actually manage our emotions better and make adjustments to our behaviors and our reactions as a result of that. Let's say you're at a party and you're feeling tired and overwhelmed. You can hear those messages coming from your body. You can step outside and take a break if you need to, or you might just recognize you've had enough for the day and it's time to go home, but you're honoring that information that you're getting from your body and mind. So to put this into practice, go through your day, tuning in occasionally and name what you're feeling, name the emotions you're experiencing. Do it on a regular basis and you'll start to develop that ability to hear those messages, to really understand what's going on for you in the moment. The fourth benefit of developing your self-awareness is that you don't follow every thought where it takes you. We are bombarded with so many thoughts on a daily basis, and if we're not careful, they can take us in all kinds of different directions. But self-awareness allows us to get distracted less often, and it means that we can stay focused on what really matters to us. And being able to stay focused means that we end up being more productive, and that we have better boundaries. We can say no to the things that we know are not what we want to spend our time and energy on. Let's say someone says in passing to you something like, oh, you look tired. Instead of that turning into a downward spiral of negative self-talk, you can catch yourself as that happens and choose to see it differently and choose to think different thoughts and spend your time and energy feeling better. So to put this into action, observe your thoughts without reacting to them. And the best way that I've found to develop this skill is through the art of meditation. And I've got a guide that takes you through 10 of the most common meditation practices that you might find helpful as you develop your meditation practice to get more focused, to stay more in control, to not be so carried away by whatever random thought occurs to you in the moment. The fifth reason that self-awareness is so valuable is it allows us to look at things more objectively, to stand back from what's happening to us and to see it from a broader perspective. That objectivity allows us to get less caught up in the details and the emotions of what's going on and actually get unstuck from a situation, because we can ask ourselves the question about the situation, is this something I can change? Let's say, for example, you're feeling stressed about taking on a new project. You can look at that project and say, what is it about this project that is stressing me out? Are there things about the way the project is being run, about my involvement that I can change? Or are there things about how I'm viewing the project, about how I'm feeling about the project that I can change? And so we can look at that and spend our time and energy more constructively because we're focused on the things that we have the power to change and just putting aside the things that we have no real control over and no ability to change. To put this into action, look at a current challenge that you're dealing with and ask yourself, is this an inside thing? Is this something that I can change? Or is this an outside thing, something that maybe I have no control over? And start to evaluate things on those terms to give you back that control and that objectivity about what's going on for you. The sixth reason that self-awareness is so important is it allows you to understand your strengths and weaknesses. You have a better clarity around what you're good at and maybe what you struggle with. And having that knowledge allows you to build confidence because you can go into situations knowing this is what I'm going to be able to do well and this is what I'm going to need help with. And that reduces fear. There's less uncertainty about what's going to unfold because we've got clear about how you're going to engage with that situation. And that also means you're more likely to achieve your goals because you're actually working within what you know about yourself in terms of what you're great at and what you need to work on. Let's say, for example, you know you're really great at organising, but you're not so great at people interaction. Well, maybe the next time a social event comes up, you can volunteer to do all the behinds, organising things and leave all the people stuff to other people who are good at it. And that way you both get to thrive because you're doing the things that you know you're best at and that you enjoy. To put this into action, make a list of your strengths and weaknesses. Look back over your past experiences and identify the things that you are good at, that you've done really well in the past, that you enjoy doing. And then write a list of the things that maybe you've struggled with. And it's up to you how you use this list. You can choose to play to your strengths, or you can choose to work on increasing your ability in your weaknesses. But having that information allows you to make so much better choices about how you engage with things. As you build the ability to regulate yourself, to be more intentional with your focus, to be more objective, to have that confidence in what you can do, It builds your faith in yourself. You have more belief in who you are and what you can do. And that means that when things go wrong, as they inevitably will, you're more able to bounce back. And that gives us resilience. That resilience allows us to handle situations that don't turn out the way we want better. We recover more quickly. Let's say, for example, you made a mistake and you sent the wrong thing to the wrong person. And instead of that turning into a complete disaster where it derails your day and it gives you ammunition for negative self-talk, you can instead identify what's going on, figure out what to do differently next time, give yourself a pep talk, do the things that put you back on track more quickly. And that resilience will lead to greater success simply because you're not so thrown when things go wrong. To put this into action, focus on developing constructive coping mechanisms. Look at the things you do in response when things don't go well and find the ones that are sustainable and that will contribute to your overall well-being over time. And also focus on finding the positives in who you are, what happened in that situation, what went right rather than everything that went wrong. As you develop this confidence in who you are, as you understand your value, as you see your positives, this gives you much greater ability to be comfortable being yourself. This means you can be authentic. You know who you are and you're okay with that. You know how you best work in the world and you can be that comfortably. And that ability to be authentic, that authenticity inspires others. They follow your example. You may end up being some kind of leader simply because you are really clear on who you are. You're confident. You are able to be yourself without apology. And that authenticity really resonates with people. For example, let's say you know you're at your best in small groups, so you can arrange your social situations to only ever be in those smaller groups where you know you'll thrive and you'll be at your best. You are happier and everyone has a better experience of you as a result. And to put this into action, figure out what are the best ways for you to express yourself. Learn from experience. Where are you at your best? What does that look like? Whatever shape it takes, whether it's creatively, professionally, personally, whatever it is, figure out what you are at your best at, which situations you need to be in, and shape your world to allow that for you. So as we develop our self-awareness, our inner awareness of who we are and what's going on for us, it leads to benefits in the outer world. And the first of these is that developing these skills for ourselves allows us to use them to help people around us. It helps us develop empathy. We've been there before. We understand what someone else might be going through and we have something to offer them. So we can genuinely listen to someone. Let's say we have a friend who's worried about something. We can be present for them. We can take the time to listen, to understand, to reflect back to them what we're hearing and to make suggestions to them about how potentially they could tackle what's going on for them. To put this into action, practice listening and listening to understand, not listening to respond. Just be there, listen, help them understand, show them that what they're experiencing is perfectly normal because you've been there before and you've dealt with it previously and you have something to offer them. Another external benefit that comes as a result of self-awareness is an awareness of how we come across to others and how to communicate better as a result. And this leads to stronger relationships. And at the end of the day, this human experience is really about how we relate to one another. So understanding this is really valuable. You might realize that when you're feeling overwhelmed, you need some space. If you say to the people around you, leave me alone, that could be taken the wrong way. And so you can take that understanding, that awareness of how you are coming across, of the other person's perspective, to change how you communicate, to improve the quality of those relationships. And to put this into action, the best way is to learn better communication methods. And one of my favorites is something called nonviolent communication. I've got a step-by-step guide that takes you through that process so that you can learn to express your needs more effectively to others, but also hear what other people are saying to you and be able to communicate back and forth so much more effectively as a result. And when you are more self-aware, when you have that ability to be confident, to know who you are, to understand your value, to connect more effectively with others, you are also more open and receptive to new ideas and perspectives, which means you are more able to take feedback. And receiving feedback can be challenging for many people because it is pretty confronting at times. But having that self-awareness, that knowledge of who you are, allows you to stay present, to hear what other people are saying, to take the value from it, to understand they really are trying to be helpful, and you don't have to take it personally. You can just take whatever value you can from what they're saying and take that on board. So for example, someone might say to you, I feel like you're attacking me, but instead of taking that personally, you can try and put yourself in their shoes and understand, why might they be seeing that way? How can I change the way that I communicate to be clear that this is not what I'm trying to say? By taking that feedback on board, you can become a better version of yourself and have more success in those relationships and in life in general. And to put this into practice, stay open to the idea that everything that you believe could be wrong. I'm not saying it is wrong. Just be open to the possibility that your beliefs could be changed, that there might be something that you're not seeing. There could be a new way of seeing things that you could take on board to allow you to see the world differently. So there is a huge body of scientific research that demonstrates many, many benefits of being more self-aware. For example, people who are more self-aware have been shown to be more creative. They're less likely to lie or steal. They are more successful at work, more promoted more often, get better results at work. When they run businesses, the businesses are more profitable. The list just goes on and on. There are so many measured benefits to your life, success, whether it's in health, in relationships, in work. Every aspect of life is lifted up by being more self-aware. So now you understand why self-awareness is not just important, it's absolutely essential, and maybe why things haven't been working out the way you want. You understand the many benefits that self-awareness can bring you. And hopefully, as a result, you're motivated to improve your self-awareness. So you want to watch this video next, and I'll see you in the next one.